Welcome to the Root of All Broth. I'm Kathleen Hill, and this is the show where we talk about the inspirations behind the foods that we cook. So today is our first mini-sode. I've had a lot of friends ask me about the broths that I use for my recipes, and today I'm going to be covering our vegetable stock. The recipe will be in the description, so if you want to follow along at home, it will be very easy. Just print it out or just have it on your phone while we go through the recipe step by step. And some great news, I'm now an Amazon associate, so any of the products here today that are actually available on Amazon, I will have a link to those in the description. If you purchase any of those products through Amazon, I will be compensated, which means I can bring you even more great content. So let's get started. So I kind of think about broth as the inspiration for all recipes because really a lot of recipes start with a really good broth, whether it be chicken or vegetable or beef stock. So let's start with an easy vegetable stock. So I'm going to start now with chopping my vegetables. So what we're going to need is some garlic. We have a few leeks, carrots, onion, and we have sliced mushrooms, some tomato paste, and wine. And then I'm going to show you step by step what we need to do. It's very simple. So first we're going to start with quartering our onion. We're just going to cut off the ends. Very simple. And we're just going to quarter it because for stocks, you don't have to like finely chop because we're really just trying to get the flavor. And then later on, I'm going to talk to you about a recipe you can make with the leftover vegetables. But right now, we're just going to get into chopping. I'm going to start with this leek here. So you could do the leek a couple ways. You can split it down here and do a half moon if you want. I've already cleaned my vegetables. You got to make sure that you are cleaning your vegetables well because leeks can be dirty. And we're going to go ahead and just throw that in the stock pot. Now we're going to go to the second leek here because I'm going to show you what we want to do with the green part. So we're going to cut this green part off. This is going to be really dirty, so we want to take it back to the sink and really clean this well. And we're going to chop this and then put that in our stock as well as the base. But let me show you again, just cut off the end just like you would a scallion. And then again, like we just did a second ago, you can half and then cut it. But I want you to know you can use this green in the stock and it's delicious in the stock. So we're going to cut that and I'm going to clean it and just cut it. So I'll show you that in just a second. Okay, I have cleaned the green part of the leek. So now I'm just going to chop this up. You can just pull them together, line them up. Again, just make big cuts. It's okay because later on after we use this for our stock, we're going to use this for another recipe and we're going to really finely process this down. So it doesn't have to be right now very small. And all the flavor. And into the pot it goes. Now this is really like 5. This is the largest clove of garlic. So it's really like 5 cloves. I'm just gonna cut them. Again, you don't have to cut them down or mince them. You do need to cut the ends off and prepare them like normal, but you don't have to cut them down very much. Okay, and in they go to the pot. So now we have our carrots and they've been cleaned. We're just going to chop our carrots. Again, we don't want to make them too small because they'll just disintegrate because we're going to be cutting this for a long period of time. So we finished with the carrots. Now we're moving on to the celery. I have 5 stalks of celery and I just cut the ends off. And now we just want to chop it a little bit. And like I said, you don't have to make it too small. And I'm going to put them right here inside my pot. Look at those beautiful vegetables. It's looking good. Okay, so now I have some rest of my leeks, some cut up mushrooms. It's about 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. And rosemary. I'm going to show you how I did the rosemary. Put everything in the bowl. And I'll get that last bit of rosemary out of there. You don't want the thick stems. You just want to pick this off. And don't worry. Like I said, we're going to cut this up later. We're going to kind of blend it to make a really nice curry almost for some tandoori chicken. But that will be later on after we're done. So just going to pick this off so it's not on the tough stem. And we're going to put it in our broth. Now that was about 3 sprigs of rosemary. Put the rest of that beautiful rosemary in there. That smell is wonderful. Don't you love the smell of rosemary? It's one of the best smells in the world, isn't it? Okay, so our next step is the wine. So we're going to need about 1 glass of wine or 1 cup of wine. And shout out to my local liquor store. I first used the Malbec with this, and then a gentleman recommended that I use a Pinot Noir for the earthy taste. So we're going with this Saddlebred Cellars Pinot Noir. Okay, I'm going to just go ahead and pour that in. And then what you should do is pour a nice glass for your wonderful husband for doing all the videotaping. Thanks, baby. All right. And last but not least, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Aren't these nice little measuring spoons? These are brought to us from our neighbors who went to Alaska. They brought these beautiful spoons back to us. Okay, so now we're ready for our water. Okay, so now I've added my water, and as you can see, it's coming up here to just about covering everything. Some of your vegetables will float, and that's okay. We're going to turn it on high heat to let it boil. And then after it comes to a boil, we're going to reduce that down to low, and we're going to let this simmer for like 2 to 2.5 hours. That's how you're going to get that great, rich flavor. Okay, so now it's boiling. You can see it's bubbling. We're going to go ahead and put the lid on. I'm turning my temperature down to low, and then put my lid on. So we're going to let this cook for about 1.5 hours, and then I'm going to take the lid off for the last hour. So now you've got time to do whatever you want. I'm going to use this time to roast some vegetables, so we'll see you back in a little while. Okay, so it's been a couple of hours. We're going to come back over to our broth that's been reducing. Let's look at that. It's good. Okay, so we're going to strain these vegetables into the pan here. We want to capture this juice, but we don't want the vegetables to be in our stock. We're going to have to do this a couple times because our strainer's not that large. So I'm going to fill this up and get all the good stuff out. Then we'll do this more than 1 time. It's time consuming, but it's not bad. Okay guys, we have our beautiful root vegetables over here that we're definitely keeping and storing. And now all we have to do is take this broth and put it in a container for storage. Now this broth will keep in the refrigerator 3 to 4 days. It will stay in the freezer for 3 to 4 months. I mean, it can stay indefinitely in the freezer, but to get the full flavor of it, you want to put it in an airtight container for 3 to 4 months. Now, if you don't use that much vegetable broth, or some of the recipes that you only use a little bit of vegetable broth, you can put it in an ice tray and just do ice cubes, which shaped little broth, so that way you can just pop it in a recipe. If you know you use about a cup, you can just store it in cups, but I'm just going to do this 1 large container. Okay, and then when we fill this up, it'll be ready to go. So I'm going to be using this wonderful broth in a tomato soup recipe coming up in the next day or so, so keep a lookout for that. Now we have our wonderful vegetable broth all ready for storage. I will be using this soon in a recipe, like I said before. If you like to make stocks at home, let me know in the comments. Let me know what inspires you to cook. Let me know how winter inspires you, what recipes you like to cook. Again, this is the Root of All Broth, and I'm Kathleen, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Remember, hit the subscribe button to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Thanks a lot.